In early 2026, U.S. strategy toward Iran is marked by a complex balancing act between diplomacy and military preparedness, reflecting a long-standing concern in Washington over Tehran's nuclear program, regional influence, and its relationships with U.S. partners across the Middle East. For years, the United States has viewed Iran's pursuit of enriched uranium and its ballistic missile capabilities as a core national security threat, underpinning strategies aimed at preventing Tehran from acquiring nuclear weapons and curbing its support for proxy forces. Reuters. At the heart of this strategy is the U.S. position in ongoing indirect nuclear negotiations in Geneva. U.S. officials are pushing for an agreement that would impose strict limits on Iran's nuclear enrichment, uranium stockpile, centrifuge use, and robust international verification mechanisms, with the aim of ensuring that Iran never develops a nuclear arsenal. Despite Iran's insistence on retaining the right to enrich uranium for peaceful purposes, negotiators are exploring creative compromises, such as lower purity enrichment for medical isotopes or conducting enrichment abroad under multinational oversight. Reuters. Alongside diplomatic engagement, the United States has amped up its military posture in the Middle East. In recent weeks, U.S. forces have been repositioned with 2 aircraft carriers, advanced warplanes, and numerous support vessels and air defense systems deployed across Europe and regional bases near the Persian Gulf and Eastern Mediterranean. Reports indicate that over 150 U.S. aircraft have been moved into theater, with major air assets staged in Jordan, Crete, and other allied facilities. These deployments signal readiness for operations ranging from precision strikes to highly kinetic campaigns, and are designed to demonstrate overwhelming conventional superiority and rapid response capability should deterrence fail. The Washington Post +1. This posture reflects a dual-track strategy, pursuing negotiations while ensuring that military options remain credible and viable. U.S. officials have not ruled out force, emphasizing that Tehran must choose between a negotiated path or facing consequences for its nuclear ambitions and destabilizing activities. President Trump and his national security team publicly state that diplomacy remains the preferred route, but internal planning continues unabated for all contingencies. People's Daily Online. The logic behind this approach is clear. Deterrence through strength, combined with diplomatic pressure, might create leverage that forces Iran toward concessions. Senior Pentagon observers note that U.S. forces are configured for a highly kinetic conflict if ordered, building a posture that emphasizes both offensive strike potential and defensive shielding. For regional partners, this readiness is intended to dissuade Tehran from further escalation and to reassure allies such as Israel and Gulf Cooperation Council states of American commitment to their security. New York Post. However, the strategy is not without internal tensions. U.S. military leadership has reportedly cautioned political leadership that any war with Iran could have irreparable and long-lasting consequences, underscoring that even a limited conflict could widen, dragging in proxies, affecting global energy markets, and destabilizing the region at scale. These warnings suggest an awareness within the Pentagon that the military option, while available, carries significant risk. Parallel to military readiness and negotiations, the U.S. continues to leverage economic and sanctions pressure as part of its comprehensive strategy. Although some sanctions regimes date back decades, recent policies have focused on depriving Iran of hard currency earnings and restricting technologies linked to nuclear and missile programs. This maximum pressure approach is intended to weaken Tehran's capacity to finance its strategic ambitions, though critics argue it may also harden Iranian resolve or inadvertently harm ordinary citizens without necessarily facilitating political concession. Wikipedia. The broader geopolitical context further complicates U.S. strategy. Tehran has made it clear through official statements that if forced into conflict, Iran would not limit its response to conventional battlefields but would activate proxies and threaten critical infrastructure such as shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, a key choke point through which a significant portion of the world's oil supply transits. Iranian officials have warned that war's effects would reverberate far beyond bilateral U.S.-Iran relations, destabilizing the broader Middle East and global energy markets. Daily Age. Heightened tensions have already led to adjustments in U.S. diplomatic presence, such as the temporary evacuation of non-essential embassy personnel in Beirut, a move that reflects concerns over potential Iranian or Iran-aligned retaliation. The American approach seeks to avoid unnecessary casualties but acknowledges that rising tensions could provoke asymmetric responses through proxy actors in Lebanon, Iraq, Yemen, and elsewhere. The Guardian. Regionally, the U.S. strategy is also shaped by its alliances and partnerships. Washington has deepened military cooperation with Israel, including deploying advanced combat jets to Israeli bases for the first time as part of efforts to coordinate deterrence and planning against Iranian targets and shared threats. Simultaneously, the U.S. engages Gulf states, balancing reassurance with pressure to avoid their territory being used in ways that could further inflame regional conflict. These diplomatic and military ties anchor U.S. strategy in a network of alliances that both deter and constrain Iran. The Wall Street Journal. Critics of U.S. policy argue that emphasizing military options without a clear political objective risks escalation without resolution.